All right.
Here we go, guys. There's the audio. No echo here. Let's rock and roll. So I've got a live call. Let's make that live call right now. And let's make it happen. I'm going to be calling a gentleman named Matthew Stewart from eXp Realty. He's a broker in Sacramento, and he's got some deal he wants to chat with me about.
Hello, this is Matthew.
What's up, Matthew? It's Pace. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. Good. How are you?
I'm really good. So what do you got? Tell me all about it.
Well, and I'm new at all this, so you'll probably have me fumble and bumble, even though I'm not new at real estate, but new to all this. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So, a gentleman owns this property free and clear. He wants a cash offer, $450. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,100 square foot home. Next door, like literally on the same lot, next door is a big barn, 2-story. It's basically a shell. Got the anyway, so it's a shell. It doesn't have any, it's not finished off for living yet, although it's 39 by 24, so 936 square feet on the bottom, and then same on the top. So we're looking at about 4,000 square feet total if we were, to convert everything to co-living. Probably, I would guess, just the research that I did, probably between $200,000 and $300,000 to get it all turned around and ready to go, both properties and dialed in and rentable. The lot's a pretty good sized lot. It's a corner lot, 0.33 of an acre. So in looking on whether it could be split, we fall within the square footage to be able to do a split and be in a corner. You got, egress on two sides. So I think we could go and then build another structure and then an ADU, kind of like what we have, on this one. I asked him if he was open, why he needed to sell. He just wants to get the money. His daughter was living in it, and I guess she's partly on title, so he wasn't really worried about any tax consequences, capital gains, because she lived in it for the last 2 or 3 years. She's moved to the Bay Area, and he lives on the lot right behind this property, so he's at a point now, owning it since, I think, 2009, that he... And he said, I don't know, probably roll it into another property up in Roseville, which is only about 15, 20 minutes away, and I service that area as well. So anyway, I realized it's probably too big of a project for me, for my wife and I, for our first one. But I thought, well, shoot, maybe I'll reach out to Pace, and you might have interest, or you might have somebody that, might have interest, and we could kind of work together on the deal.
I freaking love it. Okay, so first and foremost, you gave me like everything I needed. So you definitely are way ahead of the pack, which is great. There was a point where we cut out for about 10 seconds. I think it was you offered creative finance to him. He said, no, I'm not really interested in that. I just want the money. I'm not worried about capital gains, all of that kind of stuff. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, his daughter had lived in it, and she's on title apparently. So she's bought down in the Bay Area.
Okay.
So there's deferred maintenance, obviously. I mean, there's to get it all fixed up and everything, but it's not falling down by any means, but it's rough.
Okay. Here's a thought. So we could do, let's say you and I partnered on this deal. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say you brought this to me and I partnered with you, and the challenge with this is if I give him 450, right, in cash,
Yeah,
he's still going to have some sort of gain on the property. Does he own it, or does his daughter own it?
both of them. He bought it. Yeah, he bought it in 2009. I think he added her later down the road. I didn't see actually that her name, because Sarita. Oh no, okay. Yep, I think his daughter is our RT. So yeah, I think he added his daughter at some point.
Okay, so
Let's see.
he's probably going to have a taxable event. He doesn't think so. He basically cheated, and he's like, "Oh, I know how this works. Like, I don't want to pay taxes, so let me just add my daughter to the property, so that somebody who's one of the primary owners can say they lived in the property during that duration." That's
Correct. Yeah.
such a common like little loophole that people try and use, and it doesn't work. And he'll get slapped. It's pretty obvious what he did, right? He bought it himself. He did not live in it, so he decided, let me add somebody to the deed and get them to qualify as one of the primary people living in the property. So high likelihood that's not going to work out, which is fine, no problem. Here's what I would present. If I were going to partner with you on the deal, I don't want to come up with any money up front.
Sure.
It has deferred maintenance of, you said, how much money do you think it is?
Oh, and I'm highly uneducated in regards to this aspect, but I did a lot of kind of research over the weekend on, Google and all different ways to look at it. I'd figure if we got proper, permits, living permits for the barn dominium and the house, you're probably looking at 250 to 300.
Okay, and if we do the barn dominium, we turn the thing into the 4,000 square feet, what do you think the value of the property is at that point?
All dialed in, you're probably pushing 900 to $1 million.
Okay, so like we could get into this deal, no money out of pocket.
Okay.
Okay, and here's what I would do. I would say step number one, this is going to be wild, and I'm sure the answer is going to be no right out of the gate, but this is what I would do. I would buy the property for $450,000. Okay.
Okay.
And the way I would set that up is that $450,000, we would not give him any of that money at all until we are done renovating the property and refinancing into a new loan. Does that make sense? So essentially, we would contract him at 450. We would do essentially, he owns it free and clear, so there's no payments on it.
Correct.
So let's say that we take over, we pay the insurance, we pay the taxes, and then we have, so hold on, I got a notary here that needs my signature. Hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no worries.
What's up? What are you up to? What'd you have for lunch? An apple with peanut butter? What are you, rich?
That's awesome.
This is Matthew, an agent I'm trying to do a deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where to send this? Did you see it in the email? Okay. Yeah. Is there another one? There should be two. Oh, you did 2 copies. Okay, got it. You're awesome. Thank you. Okay, so Matthew, here's my thought. My thought is we give the offer to the seller and we say, hey, we'll pay you the 450. But in order for us to get to that 450, we want to have the ability to go pour in $250,000 into the property without coming up with any money to buy the property up front. So essentially, we do what I call is a dating contract.
Sure.
So we date him for, let's say, 12 months. So those 12 months, we go get permits, we go finish the barn dominium. I bring in a private money lender at for the 250,000. So you and I, neither one of us have any money into the deal. We do the renovation and then we fill the property, let's say co-living. We fill it all the way up. We do a refinance at the, let's just say $900,000 price point.
Yeah.
If we do a refinance at $900,000, I could go get a loan for 700 grand, and that would pay the 450 that we owed the seller. And that would also pay the 250 that we brought in a private money lender. And you and I could just go 50-50 on the deal and own a cash flowing co-living deal with no money out of your pocket or my pocket, if that's the route you wanted to go. If you are you his agent in this particular situation, or are you just like a civilian?
Listing agreement. So it was a listing appointment. And he's like, no, I don't want to list it. Cause I said, we can get you more money if we go on the market, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to look at it as an investor, but just kind of feeling him out. And he goes, no, I just want easy, just cash. Like, okay, well, let me go run some numbers with my partner and, I'll get back to you and so on. So
here's what'll happen. You'll give him an offer. Here's what you should do is call him up and go, hey, you're going to hate this offer. And the reason you're going to hate it is, although I am going to give you full price offer, you're going to hate the fact that I want to give you the money in 12 months after I renovate and refinance the property. If you're able to do that and give us 12 months to give you the 450, then that gives us the time to renovate the property, finish the barndominium, do it all with permits, all of that kind of stuff. And it gives us time to basically, raise the money, go do the project, and give you top dollar, which is the 450. If he's refusing to sell with a real estate agent, that means he's a seller that's probably wanting more money than what the house is worth, right? Like right now, it's probably not worth 450. It has deferred maintenance. Nobody's going to want to buy it in a deferred maintenance situation other than an investor. Most investors are going to offer him 350, 375, 380, 390. And you and I will become more and more attractive to him over 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so my suggestion is we do an offer at 450 where he gets paid 12 months after we buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets all his $450,000 when you and I do a refinance.
Okay, so paid upon refi.
Yep, paid upon refinance.
Okay.
So when he says, well, no, you need skin in the game, we're like, well, we are. We're going to put $250,000 into finishing the project. And we're going to go get this thing operational and what we think the vision should be. So we'll have a heavy amount of skin in the game. I mean, technically you and I won't. I'll just go bring in a private money lender. And then that way we're no money out of pocket. You and I own, 50-50 on a $900,000 or $1 million rental property that as a co-living with that situation probably would net $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
For each of us?
Probably combined because it's a higher mortgage balance, right? $700,000 and interest rates are not ideal. And so if we refinanced in 24 months, then the chances are we probably will both be making $2,000 a month once we refinance a second time. But on the first iteration, we would probably both take home $1,500 each every single month.
Mm-hmm.
So, pays for your car payment.
Yeah, right. My paid off Chevy Volt. We're not into car payments. Anyway, okay, well, so the reason that you would take on all of that for a $1,500 return is that we're not coming out of pocket on anything. Is that right?
Couple of reasons. Number one, the way we make money in real estate is never cash flow. I think cash flow is a very common. What I say on YouTube is I tell people cash flow is for children.
Okay.
There's a much larger game at stake here. Cash flow is, let's say, $3,000 a month on a property like that.
Yeah.
And that's huge, right? Like somebody buying regular rental properties would have to buy 10 real estate projects to cash flow what we would on one co-living. So that's huge. So it's not minuscule. But the second reason why we buy real estate is future appreciation, right? This property in 10 years will be worth 1.5 million bucks, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if we have an asset that goes up in value $600,000 over 10 years, that means you and I both are making 30 grand a year in appreciation each that goes towards our retirement. So that's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest reason why this is a good deal for you and I is that we would go and get a property that would give us both, I'd say $200,000 in tax deductions off of our taxes, real taxes. So let's say you make $200,000 this year, $200,000 of your income this year would be wiped out because this one freaking property. You would have a real taxable benefit this year of probably 80 to 90,000 in real dollars that you wouldn't have to pay to the stinking IRS.
Yeah.
Then the fourth reason why we like the deal is because we will have the tenants pay down the debt. You sound like a Dave Ramsey disciple. Are you a Dave Ramsey disciple?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I hate Dave Ramsey.
That's fine.
And the reason being is because he educates the beginners that are afraid of debt, but you'll never meet a multimillionaire that doesn't use debt.
Correct.
And
yes, we understand that.
I think Dave Ramsey's really good for 90% of the population, but the 10% that want to be ultra wealthy, they got to stop listening to him at some point. And so the tenants will pay the payment on this thing, and you and I will have mortgage pay down to the tune of another $20,000 a year. Okay. And then finally, in the future, when you and I go do a cash out refinance, let's say in 10 years, we will never sell this property, but we'll do a cash out refinance in 10 years and pull out $500,000 all tax free. So if you look at just the first 4 benefits, you've got $36,000 a year in cash flow. You've got $30,000 a year in appreciation. You've got essentially $200,000 in tax benefits in year 1. And then your tenants are paying down the mortgage 20 grand a year. Huge benefit. So the cash flow is actually the smallest benefit of buying the property. And if you're going to get all of those benefits with no money out of pocket, this is a grand slam freaking home run.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you explaining all that. It makes sense. Okay. Oh,
who's
my
who's
wife
that?
is asking.
Is she mad? Is she mad that I hate Dave Ramsey?
No, not at all. No.
By the way, I love Dave Ramsey. I think he's a freaking genius. I think he's one of the smartest men on the planet. I just had to stop listening to him a couple of years ago. That's all.
Yeah, no, we get it. I mean, we taught Dave Ramsey at our church and all that. And, we paid 100 grand off of debt our first year of marriage. It totally changed our whole direction in life. And, now we got a YouTube channel, travel channel. We did a 90-day trip last year. So things are different. But anyway, you came the last 2 years to our Cabo Mastermind. We're really dear friends with Brent and Kathy, and we actually go travel with them and all that stuff. And so this came about, and I said, babe, this is, I think, a bigger project, knowledge-wise for us, at least the first one, doing all this stuff. But, maybe I can get a hold of Pace, and he may refer us to somebody or give us some counsel. Or
I mean, this is what I do. I partner with agents just like this, where a listing, it doesn't make sense for you or the seller, in this situation, the seller, and he's not going to get 450. He'll get, and even if he got 450, okay, let's say he got 450, he's going to pay commission to somebody's agent. He's going to pay something. And then on top of it, he's probably going to get an offer in the 3s, not in the 4s. Market's slow. It's going to get a little bit slower here in the beginning, first couple of quarters of the year. And so we might not be the winning offer today, but if we submit an offer at 450 saying full asking price, no commissions, we pay closing costs, and then we give him all the money within 12 months of us taking possession of the property, I think there's a high likelihood a guy like that's like, yeah, I want the 450. I'm willing to wait an extra 12 months for that 50 grand. This is a deal where I would come to the table. I would raise the money. I would run the project. I would do everything, give you 50%, take 50% myself, and I'd get it filled up with PadSplit clients. And you and I'd make a bunch of cash flow. It'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, sounds good to me.
And you could go get a brand new Chevy Volt with a payment.
Now, I said that so that you could make fun of me because we're buddies, and I have no problem with that. Yeah.
So you think that's probably the right thing to is at least present an offer to him in that regard?
Yeah. What other option or what other possibility is there?
He's not willing to work with an agent, so there's no listing opportunity for you. The other option would be, doing a seller finance deal where he gave us monthly payments, and we could do something similar, where I raise some capital to cover the 12 months of payments he would need. Like there's multiple ways to skin the cat, but what I would do is just gauge where he's at on, hey, is purchase price more important to you or speed is more important to you? And he's going to say, well, both. Okay, great. And those are the sellers you already know. You got to follow up with it for a couple of months. And then finally they relent. And this is one of those deals where, you might watch a YouTube video of mine that says one of my students followed up with a seller for 13 weeks and ended up getting the deal of a lifetime, but the seller originally said no in the beginning. That could be one of these deals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He also could go, oh, that sounds interesting. If he says that sounds interesting, that's when you and I get on a phone call with the seller and you let me talk to him and close the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Okay. Yeah, it sounds good. And my wife and I, even though we're licensed realtors and have been doing this 30 years, like I'm not chasing commissions. I want ownership, right?
Of course, yeah.
I want to, yeah. So that's our mindset. That's why I wanted to reach out to you on this and go, well, hey, maybe there's some interest. We could do something together. So
heck yeah, I appreciate it. Let's do a 50-50 deal. I'll run the project. I'll raise the money. I'll close the seller. and you'll get, you know, this property will put over the next 10 years, this property will put $500,000 in your guys' net worth bank. So
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good, Pace. I appreciate it. Let me, so the next step is I'm going to connect with him, reach out to him, tell him, hey, you're probably going to hate this offer, but you know, I want to put it out there.
Yep.
And let you know my partners and I are interested. And, you know, we're willing to pay your asking price of $450, which we realize is probably higher than what the market will bear right now and what you're probably going to get from other investors. But, you know, what we're looking at doing is giving you full price. But in return, we need time to be able to complete some of the checkpoints in regards to making this a viable deal for both you and us. And part of that is we want 12 months to complete the improvements on the property, getting proper permits and renovating the property and so on. And after 12 months, we will look at refinancing the property. And that's when we'll pay you, upon the refinance, we'll pay you your full price of $450. You know, we'll pay the closing costs, no commissions, stuff of that nature.
Yes, sir. You got it down pat.
Okay, cool. All right. Any questions for Lexi and I?
Lexi, can you hear me?
Of course.
Okay, Lexi, if we buy this deal, we have to start an LLC that we own together called Dave Ramsey is Awesome LLC. and the LLC owns $900,000 in debt, and we'll show the world that debt also makes you a lot of money. Okay. Well,
do you get text messages on this line?
Yep, that's my cell phone.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was your open claw or.
No. This is my cell phone.
So let's see if this is really his open claw who's like scheduling Southwest flights and.
Of course. No, this is my personal cell phone. You can shoot me text messages.
Oh, I was just going to shoot you a picture of us because you may or may not remember us. I sat on the aisle in your session there in Cabo, and
I remember you guys. You guys are freaking awesome.
Yeah. So anyway. All right. Well, let's see if we can get this together. It'd be fun. It'd be quite a story.
All right, Matthew, Lexi, I appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
Well, hey, real quick, when is you probably don't have it yet, but on the forward edge,
I think it's June 6th is what Brent texted me about today. I think that's what it is, but him and my team are going back and forth on figuring that out today. So
because we'd like to be a part of that. We've been supporting Forward Edge for about, 3 years now and so on. So love to have the opportunity to come down there and spend a day with you.
Yeah, please. We are, I think it's either June 5th or June 6th, but I think Brent will have the final answer with my team sometime today.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Okay. So this is a good call. All right. This is a fun call for a lot of you guys to hear, is like how I will structure a deal where no money is ever out of my pocket, and I'll go get a deal that makes $3,000 a month. Did everybody learn something on that call? A couple of things that I would want you to learn on that call is you don't have to know how to do this. You need to know how to find opportunity and bring it to people like me who do. And so what I do with my students is my students and I, they'll bring opportunity to the table in my office, and I'll spend a whole week with them, and I just do deals with them live. And I'm the one that calls the seller. I'm the one that structures the deal. My team does all the paperwork. We bring the financing on the deals that we do together. Like that is, what's the difference between the 700 and the 900,000? No problem. I'm happy to answer that question for you. Let me pause the side chat for a second. Linda Brown. Let's bring Linda Brown up here. Man alive, it's amazing to me that people will show up this freaking late and miss an entire agent phone call. Holy moly. Y'all are like trickling in here, missing some of the most important parts of this training. I don't dilly-dally. When I do training, I get right into the heavy stuff in the beginning. Linda Brown, what up? How you doing?
Hey, Pace, Linda Brown, second time meeting you. I met you in Bend.
Heck yeah, Linda freaking Brown in Bend. You guys are so bougie over there.
We are.
You
rock that vest a lot.
Yes, I love Bend. That was a lot of fun. Okay, you ready for me to break down this answer for you?
Yes, I was trying to figure it out.
No problem. So Linda is asking a really great question. She, of course, when I'm making these calls, things go really, really fast. And so I love the clarity questions. Linda says, Pace, what was the difference between the $700,000 and the $900,000? Well, here's how this works out. Notice very little spreadsheets are involved in my seller calls or in my broker calls. The main call you're going to make is, oh, well, what if we do this, right? That's the first call you're going to make is usually, hey, what if we do something like this? Is the seller interested in something like this? And so a lot of the numbers I throw out in the beginning don't need a spreadsheet because it doesn't matter how much time I spend in the spreadsheets. If the seller's not even interested in creative finance in any regard, I'm wasting my time in the spreadsheets. So the main goal is to give the broker an idea of what we could do. I don't even have the address. Like, that's the funny thing. I don't even know the address of the property, right? I'm throwing out and coaching a new person on how to get a co-living deal done with no money out of pocket. And where this lead came from for me is I teach real estate agents all over the country. I go speak at their conferences and I go, guys, like, if you guys were one of my students, I will partner with you. And so this gentleman, Matthew, joined SubTo. And so now he's sending me opportunities and I'll do this deal and 100 other deals with him in his lifetime. But that's where that lead came from. Matthew is a real estate agent in Sacramento, California. And he went out and met this agent. He didn't tell me any of this. I picked this up on the phone call. Like, that's how the lingo of real estate goes so fast, which is why Linda's asking the question. Is he didn't say, Pace, I marketed to a seller. I sat down with the seller. I tried to get the listing. The guy didn't want to do a listing. He's doing for sale by owner, which is the list I called off. Said none of those things, but I figured that out by just listening to the call, right? So the other things that he didn't say and we didn't talk about is basically what Linda's talking about. And here's what Linda's asking. You've got this seller, right? Every deal starts with a seller. This seller came from a for sale by owner list, FSBO list. Matthew, the real estate agent, called this gentleman and said, hey, can I come to your house and give you a listing presentation? Can I present to you? Will you listen to me and let me list your property? Linda, obviously you understand this, right?
Yes.
Cool. Now, again, he didn't say any of this to me. I just kind of figured this out on the call. Cool. So this seller says, no, I don't want to list with an agent. I think agents are stupid. A lot of sellers do. Sorry, guys. It's just the truth. I'm just going to sell this myself for $450,000. Now, real estate agents, I want you to understand something. This is happening more and more and more, especially recently. There's been people in Florida that are selling their houses through ChatGPT instead of going through real estate agents, and their ChatGPT is doing a better job coaching them through and contract negotiation and what houses to, what colors to paint, what room, and what to do to every, like, ChatGPT is kicking agents' butts. And so what's happening is I'm trying to teach real estate agents how to stop being a realtor. Nobody likes realtors, guys. Even realtors don't like realtors, okay? Just be honest, okay? But I want you to be a licensed investor. Stop calling yourself a real estate agent. Start calling yourself a licensed investor. And so I did a presentation in Cabo to EXP. And I told these guys, like, hey, if you're ever one of my students, if you ever become a student of mine, I will do deals with you. And all you have to do is literally bring me a lead and I'll buy the deal and I'll cut you in on the deal on your first deal, like 50-50. I'll freaking make your life real good. And so that's where this call came from. All right. So he ran into the seller. Seller says, I want $450,000. I have it paid off free and clear. And so Matthew's like, oh crap. What do real estate agents do when a seller says, no, I don't want to list my house through you? What agents do is they go, I don't know how I'm going to make money on this. The only thing I know how to do is go and try and chase a commission. I talked about this on Sunday. Agents don't know how to do real estate. This guy's been in business. I like Matthew, so it's not a criticism at all, but it's just to help you guys understand what is going on here, is that Matthew doesn't understand investing. So he's learning how to invest after 30 years of being a licensed agent. Isn't that kind of mind-blowing, Linda?
Yes.
I think a lot of people think real estate agents learn. Is anybody blown away by that? Can I get a yes in the comments if you guys are blown away by the fact that somebody has been an agent for 30 years? That lesson I just taught you guys should convince you that becoming a licensed real estate agent is not going to let you become an investor. In fact, it will deter you from being an investor because you are chasing commissions. You are trained to chase commissions. Okay. Awesome. Who does the refi on that deal? James, please be patient. Do you guys like the way I teach? You like how detailed I am? I'm going backwards and I'm filling in the gaps and I'm laying the runway. I'm not an idiot, guys. I know how to teach. And if I just answered Linda's question, what would happen is more people would have more questions. I'm getting to Linda's question. Relax. Okay. Relax. You freaking impatient knuckleheads. Okay. Carly, will you do me a favor, by the way? Will you put the contract in the side chat, please, for everybody? I promise everybody contracts today. Okay. So Linda, here's how I would do this deal. Seller and I sign a contract, and I call this a dating contract, where we're not going to get married for 12 months. Following me why I call it a dating contract?
Yes.
In my dating contract, it says, not today, but in 12 months, I will give you $450,000, or whenever I refinance is a better way to state that. I won't say 12 months. I'll literally say in the contract, it will say, when I refinance, you will get paid $450,000. So what does that do? That gives me, here's today, here's 12 months from now. This gives me all this time right here to renovate the property, fill it up with tenants, and get the refinance done. So here's what I'll do. Step number one, we got the contract. Boom. Step number two, I'm going to go get a list of PMLs, which I'll give you guys tomorrow. I'll give you a list of private money lenders that I will use. And I will raise $250,000. What will I raise that money for? Is I will raise that money for the renovation of the property. Obviously, we're renovating it. We're adding bedrooms. We're taking the garage and converting it. And we're going to turn this into a cash flowing monster. Once this property is up and operational, it no longer is worth 450. And it's no longer worth the 250 I added. It's actually, so that's 700,000, just FYI. That's where the 700,000 comes from. I'll get to that in a second as well. This property, as stated by Matthew, is worth, he says, between $900,000 and $1 million once it's renovated and operational. Are you following me on that, Linda?
I am.
Okay,
Starting
cool.
to click. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Love it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a company called myinvestorloan.com. And myinvestorloan.com is going to give me a new loan based on the value of this newly renovated property. And they're going to look at this and go, hey, Pace, we'll give you, because I'm a good operator of theirs, they'll give me up to 80% of the value of the property in a new loan. So what does that mean? Let's say the property is worth $900,000 when it's all up and operational. They give me a loan for 80% of that 900,000. What is that? I think that's $720,000, something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. What is that? What's 80% of 900,000? Let's find it out. I should know that off the top of my head, shouldn't I? Okay. 720. I was right. Okay. So I will get a new loan for that 720. So what will that do, my friend Linda, is that new loan from My Investor Loan.
Oh, I want to finish this story. I know it.
Yeah, you know how to finish the story, don't you?
You're going to pay that 450 and you're going to pay that 350.
250, yep.
Yeah, 250, excuse me.
And
Yep.
I also have an additional $20,000 that I can pay towards my private money lender. So instead of the 250 I pay them 270, right? So they make 20 grand or 10% on their money or whatever it may be. And so I'm in the deal, how much money out of pocket?
Zero.
So I bought it with creative finance, right? I bought it with what I've created as a dating contract. This is stuff that did not exist before I came around, was a dating contract. I'm going to date the seller for 12 months, and then I'm going to marry him once I refinance, and he's going to get paid at that point. Okay. That's a little bit more of an advanced strategy. happens very frequently, but it is a little bit more advanced. And so you need people like me to partner with you. So here's what ends up happening. And by the way, I got a guest I was supposed to bring up here 6 minutes ago, so I'll keep this short, but Linda, I freaking love your question. So here's the challenge that everybody will be faced with. Okay. What they're going to be, everybody's going to be faced with is, well, I need more information. I just feel like I need more information, right? Everybody here is chasing more information when the reality is, can I get a yes? Everybody agrees with this? You guys all are chasing more information. I want information.
True.
But the reality is you don't need more information. You need more courage. Okay. Courage is what you actually need. You don't need more information. I'm giving you information that's good to start with to show you it's possible, right? But you need more courage. Now, what sucks, okay? Talana says fear sucks. I agree, but there's a very simple way to overcome fear, okay? It's why I have 30,000 students across the globe in 29 countries. Do you know what my success rate is? It's nearing 100%. Why is that? Why is it that I have not even close to the highest? I'm like 50 times more successful teaching people than anyone else. I'll tell you why. Because I partner with my students and I do deals with them live in my office, and I do what I just did for Matthew. Okay. So one time per month, I invite my students to my office for 1 full week. And what do? Well, let's talk about this. One of the reasons why you're super fearful, everybody, not one, a lot of the reason you're fearful is because you feel like you're lacking these things: sales skills, right? Terminology. Tell me, Linda, yes, as I say these out loud, okay?
Oh, yes.
If you, yeah, oh, yes, heck yes, whatever it is you feel like you're compelled to say as I write these down. Sales skills, terminology, lead generation.
For sure.
Okay. Proof of funds to show people that you actually have the ability, proof of funds.
Yep.
Okay. Structuring deals. Do you see how fast I can structure a deal in like 2 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Structuring deals, paperwork equals contracts. Is that a big one?
Big one.
Okay. Transaction coordination, which is similar, but a little bit different. Somebody will say, well, how does that work? What are the steps? What about raising money? Oh my gosh, Pace, raising money from private money lenders? That's scary. Is it a good deal or a bad deal, right? We also call that underwriting. I'm not good at underwriting, Pace. I'm scared. What if I make a bad decision? I know that this thing has a lot of money. I could become incredibly wealthy. How about contractor management? Okay. Now I bought this with Creative Finance, but I'm also doing a refinance at the end, which does require some credit on this particular strategy. Not all, like probably 90% of the time you don't have credit involved in this, but this is a very high level type of deal structure, and it does require refinance at the end. But who's going to qualify for that, right? Who's going to qualify for that loan? And what if you don't? And what if, all of those
On
types
and
of
on
things.
and on and on.
Anything, Linda, on your mind that you think is like, I'm missing?
Well, when I'm going through my Gator trainings, and my main thing is like, I hear you saying you'll do deals, the first 10 deals. I hear you say it's easy to find deals, network.
Mhm.
And then it's like, if I find a deal, how do I really get in touch with Pace?
You don't. You get in touch with my team. So either A, if you're in SubTo, you're doing real estate deals with me. If you're in Gator, you're doing lending deals with me. But let's just pretend like we're talking, because right now this is more SubTo related.
Correct.
So let's say SubTo, right? You're not going to get in touch with me. You're going to get in touch with Heather, Jade, Molly, Heidi, and Jade does two Zooms every single week for Gator. Heather does Zooms every week for SubTo. So like they're available on Zoom. They're available via email. They get on Zooms with you. A simple email is all it takes. Like literally a simple email is all it takes.
Cool.
Okay. What else? What's another fear?
I don't know how to flip. I don't know how to general.
Okay. So that's contractor management. Anything
Yeah.
new?
That's not that's coming to mind.
Okay, so guys, before I open up the side chat and I ask you guys for your other fears that you might have, please, let's make sure they're new fears. Don't tell me something that's already on the screen. I'm going to open up the side chat. Let's see if we can find some more fears. But before I open up the side chat, we got sales skills, right? That's negotiations, follow-up, terminology, all the words I use, lead generation, where did the leads come from? Proof of funds, actual funds, like let's write that down, actual money or access to money, right? Those types of things. Structuring a deal, because I'm obviously one of the best on the planet at creative finance. It just is what it is. I am that good. Paperwork, contracts. I'm not the best at paperwork, but I have the best team on the planet at paperwork. I don't like paperwork. I prefer to do structuring. Transaction coordination, raising money. Is it a good deal? Is it not a good deal? Can I qualify for loans, refinancing credit, right? These are kind of umbrella statements. So give me something new that does not fall underneath these umbrellas, my friends. Okay. Don't ask questions in the side chat, guys. Fear of failure. Okay, cool. Let's get rid of the fear thing, guys. We already wrote that down. It's right here. Big circle on the fear side. We already wrote that down. Don't rejection. Market crash. Okay.
Operating the property once I have it going, making sure I have
Okay.
cash
I like
inside
that. That's a
invested.
good one. That's a good one. I like that one. Raising capital, already have it, you knucklehead. Call to action, taking action. Okay. Stage fright. We already got fear on here, you freaking weirdos. Okay. What does fear stand for? Linda, do you know what fears stand for? Fear stands for fear of failure. I'm afraid to fail. The E stands for embarrassment, which would be like, I'm afraid of hearing the word no. Okay. Looking stupid. Fear of A is abandonment. I'm a fear of somebody abandoning me. These are like typical human failures. R is rejection. I'm afraid of rejection. And then I'm actually afraid of success. Can I tell you guys the honest truth about your freaking mindsets, all of you guys? Your number one fear by far is this right here. You don't think it is. You think your number one fear is that. That's not true. You think it's fear of failure. Okay. The reality is you are already failing. So it's obvious that you're not afraid of failure because you live in failure on a daily basis. That hurts some feelings, but it's true. You are not where you want to be. You are not living the life you know God wanted you to live. You know there's people out there that really need your help, but you don't have the capability of helping them. You are failing at your life's purpose. So it's obvious you're not afraid of failure because you actually seem to desire failure. Is that kind of hurtful a little bit, but also true? Okay. You are not afraid of failure. Stop saying that. You actually enjoy failure. Otherwise, you do something about it. Ouch. Can I get an ouch in the side chat?
Ouch.
Ouch. Okay, so what are we really afraid of? We're really afraid of success. And what do I mean by that? Is that nobody in your life is living the life that you want. Okay, your parents don't have the money that you want, right? Maybe your parents are divorced. Maybe your parents don't exist. Maybe your parents are super cute and you love them, but they don't have any money. Your siblings, they suck. They're nice and you love them. They're God's children. We love them. But you hang out with them and they're not doing anything that you want to do. Your coworkers, same thing. People you go to church with, same thing, right? All these people are really amazing God's children. We love them. Okay. But the reality is your circle of influence is making your brain, your amygdala, right? The control center of your brain. Do you know what your brain wants to do more than anything else? It wants to survive. Okay. What is survival? Is doing exactly what your tribe is also doing. If you hang out with a bunch of people that love watching football, chances are you will also like football. If you hang out with a bunch of people are getting married and having kids, chances are you're going to love getting married and having kids. Just how it is. Okay. So do we all agree your actual real fear is fear of success? Because nobody in your tribe is as successful as you want to be. Therefore, your amygdala is controlling you to stay as close to your tribe as humanly possible. Okay. again, you are not afraid of failure. If you were, you would have done something about your current failure. Are you successful in your life right now? Yeah, maybe, but not specifically on the goals that you have about being financially free. You are already failing. You are already the worst case scenario right now. You are not where you want to be. Period. End of story. Okay. So I'm not trying to make you feel stupid about this. I'm trying to point something out to you. Okay. Why is it? What's the big difference? Okay. Matthew, who's a real estate broker, 30 years. Who's he been hanging out with?
Real estate brokers,
Right. And why do they call them brokers?
because they're broker than the rest of us.
There you go. They're broke. They're broker than real estate investors, right? So now they go 30 years of not owning real estate. And here he is now going, holy crap, I should have been, every time I heard a no, I should have converted that into a co-living deal. But why won't he? He won't because of all those things I stacked up with you. So let's say hypothetically, is this helpful for some people?
For me,
Okay, cool. Thanks for hanging with me, Linda. So where we solve this problem is very simple. This is why our success rate is nearing 100% in my community, is because all of those fears that you have, those problems you have, I literally just partner with you and I bring all of that to the table. My team, my money, my resources, my skills. And what happens is in SubTo, you come and hang out in my office for a week and we do deals together for an entire week. And you leave having a new permission on life. You see what real success looks like. You then leave having contracts in hand, deals funded, etc. That's what's happening with Matthew right now, is that a 30-year curse of being an agent, a real estate agent, but no investments, by meeting the right person and just partnering with them. Well, let's ask the question, do I bring skills to the table that he doesn't have? Obviously. Do I bring structuring, paperwork, contracts, understanding of creative finance, negotiation skills, sales skills? Do I understand the timeline, the ability to raise money? Do I understand how to find the right contractor, manage that right contractor? Do I understand and have the ability to qualify for a refinance? And do I understand whether it's a good deal or bad deal? Do I also understand how to manage the asset after it's in our portfolio? Yes. I've taken 13 years of getting kicked in the teeth and built a portfolio of 2,000 rentals. I think my team knows a thing or two about owning assets like this. So what would you rather do? Go 30 years being a real estate person trying to get started, or would you just partner with the right person, right? So awesome. Precious Smith says, so helpful. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So I do have a guest. Are you guys all happy you showed up today already? Were you already happy? We broke down a deal, explained where that deal came from. Also showed you, if you're a real estate agent, you should not be calling to get listings. You should be calling to get deals and partnering with people like me. All right. Linda Brown, was that helpful?
yes. So thank you so much for the time, Pace.
Linda, you're freaking cool. Thank you.
You're cool too.
You know what? I might not be that cool, but I'm good at talking to sellers and structuring deals. Audrey
Hello.
McClintock, what up, homie?
How are you?
I'm so good. So Audrey works for a company that I admire, a company I've made a lot of money with, a company that manages my properties. She's like, please, Pace, don't tell people we manage properties. We don't manage properties. She's going to be going through and talking about PadSplit for us in the side chat. Can we all say thank you, Audrey, for being here, making sure she took time and energy away from her existing business. It is 6:50 Eastern time, and she works at a company called PadSplit. This is well beyond her hours, and she's out here grinding and helping us out and hanging out with us. So give her a big thank you in the side chat.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so Audrey, you and I have never presented together, which is perfectly cool. I've presented with a lot of PadSplit reps. You seem head and shoulders above everybody, no pressure. What do you want to do? Like, what makes you excited to present? Do you want to go through a presentation slide and then do some Q&A at the end? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's do that. I think I'll just kind of explain high-level PadSplit so everyone has a general idea, and then we can dive into questions if that works.
That works perfect. And what I'll do is I will probably Kanye West you along the way. Like, You'll be Taylor Swift trying to accept a reward or an award, and I will interrupt you from time to time.
Okay.
But guys, in the side chat, if I have the side chat open, please promise me we're not going to promote stuff in the side chat. We're going to keep the side chat talking about what Audrey McClintock is talking about. Can I get a yes, sir, in the side chat? Chantel Smith says, keep it closed. No. Because I can tell you when I'm Audrey or I'm Pace, I like getting the energy from the side chat. People saying, I like that. That's helpful. Wow, that's really cool. It helps keep us on track. And it also gives us energy to promote and work harder for you. So let's follow the rule of not promoting in the side chat. Let us know when you like something. Let us know when you have an aha moment. Put it in the side chat. Love on Audrey. Audrey, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk with you all about PadSplit. PadSplit is a rent by the room marketplace. We're a two-sided marketplace, and there's opportunity with PadSplit to not only do well as an investor. Ideally, with our strategy, you're cash flowing on your properties. Paige just said cash flows for children. I've never heard that one before, but I liked it. While your property is appreciating, I think let's cash flow instead of lose money monthly on a long-term rental.
Word.
So that's
Freaking word. I
that's our
love
motto.
that. I
It's
want to
also-
point something out.
Go ahead.
Audrey, you've never presented with me, and I love that you pointed that out. The reason why I tell people cash flow is for children is because if they're just chasing cash flow, they're missing where real wealth is made, which is the patient side of things, which Audrey knows very, very well. But I want to keep that out. The only single family strategy that I believe right now that is currently cash flow worthy is PadSplit or nonprofit like Oxford House, which we'll talk about next month, guys. I do not have a single co-living property that does not cash flow like big boy cash flow. They all are netting me $1,500 to $2,500 a month. That's in my pocket cash flow. It is a gangster strategy to actually produce really good cash flow while you're patient, which is what Audrey's talking about.
Yeah, and then also it's an opportunity to do good. So we are a mission-driven company. We're trying to help solve the affordable housing shortage, and historically, investors really haven't been incentivized to house low-income earners for obvious reasons. It can be a bit of a headache. Maybe there's no money in it. But we found a strategy that incentivizes investors, and it can become a very lucrative strategy if it's done right. So let's talk about it.
Audrey, where do you live? Are you East Coast, like Atlanta?
I'm in South Florida.
South Florida. That means Miami or Fort
It
Lauderdale?
does. It means Miami. Yep.
The place is wild right now.
It's fun. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
fun place. It's rainy right now, but usually it's about 80 degrees. I missed you guys when you were here about a month ago.
Yeah,
Was
we had
that-
1,000-person meetup. You missed
I
out.
saw you were on a yacht.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Looked awesome. So working with PadSplit generally looks like this. So typically we'd have, you sign up on our site through Pace's link, and then you get paired with an AE, ideally me. And then we do kind of an intro and alignment call. We go over the same information we're actually going to go through today. So you can skip that part and jump straight into numbers and solutions. Typically, you have a property during that conversation, and we can run numbers, look at the property, see if it's a fit for PadSplit. I can tell you in 2 seconds if I think it's a good move or not. And then from there, this is the best part. You actually don't need to be a seasoned investor to work with PadSplit because we have boots on the ground, vetted vendors in every single core market we're in to help you take your project from A to Z. So find the property, and then we'll help you with the rest. So we'll pair you with a local GC who has done tons of PadSplit projects. He probably owns a couple of his own PadSplits. He can come in, tell you exactly what you need to do to convert the space. And then once he or she is done, we'll pair you up with a third-party PM that can come stage, furnish, photograph, list, and then manage the property for you entirely. So you're completely hands-off. So we have those people in place that are seasoned and can help you, which is awesome. And then from there, we'll list and activate, and then we'll start filling your rooms and you start making money. It's really that simple.
It really is that simple. Let me tell you, like, one of the things that she probably cannot emphasize hard enough. She could talk about it for 45 minutes and it still won't sink in. one of the most important things that you could do is let PadSplit tell you whether a house is a good fit or not. So for me, when I'm submitting offers, right, I bring in students into my office. We'll talk about how, if you guys want to come into my office in about a month, I've got a co-living 1-week training in my office where I don't train. We actually do deals live. I actually bring my PadSplit Arizona rep in the office, and they're looking at the houses before I submit the offer. So I'm not going to go out there wild westing it and assuming I know how to underwrite and look at the property. My PadSplit rep, as you guys call them, AEs, is that correct, Audrey?
Yep. Account executives. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just call them badasses. My PadSplit badass. I text them an address. Literally, I'm driving. I'm at a stoplight. This is how basic it is. Hey, rep, will you please look at this address? Tell me if it's a good fit, what you like, what you don't like about it. At the end of the day, I have to make my own decision, but they're going to help me get 90% of the way there. Pace, it has no public transportation. It has this. It's in the middle of nowhere. I think that you're going to have a really hard time filling this house. Don't buy the house. Versus other houses I look at, they go, oh my gosh, buy that right now. We've got 6 houses in that same neighborhood. They're constantly full. It is a money zone. Bunch of people making a bunch of money. My other clients are killing it in that area, and they've got waiting lists. The amount of information that is legitimate information rather than like going to Rentometer and saying, what could I rent this for? And it's like a guess game. PadSplit's AEs. So Audrey, will you cover South Florida, obviously?
I'm a national rep. Yeah. But most of my focus is in Florida.
Okay. Very cool. You guys can see on this map here, Atlanta, they are freaking killing it in Atlanta. I think they have like 10,000 houses or something crazy in Atlanta, or 10,000 units, something like that. And just in Atlanta,
Bedrooms. Yeah.
10,000 bedrooms. They are killing it in all sorts of markets all over the place. But I just text my rep and they tell me yes, no, maybe so. Hey, let's look deeper. They'll get on a freaking Zoom with me. None of that costs money, but what they're not going to do is sit there and look at houses for me and look for houses for me. I need to bring an opportunity, a lead. So for example, that house I was just on the phone with, Audrey, I don't know if you heard my call. Did you?
I did.
So I got it to a point where I'm about to make an offer. That's about the time that I should bring my rep in. Is that about right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to shut up. You keep going.
That's okay. Yeah. So my role essentially is to educate you guys on the program, ensure you're acquiring properties that are fit for our model and you're setting them up for success. I'm incentivized to help bring units onto the platform. And the idea is if I educate you correctly up front, it's going to do well. And then you're going to buy another one. And then you're going to buy another one. So work closely with your rep. That's why we're here. Like we're trying to, grow and scale as a company, and we're not going to do that unless we're educating you guys properly so that it's successful. And we kind of hit you between the eyes with the information you need. And so you go into it fully understanding what you're getting into. So this map, correct, is all of our core markets. So everything with a blue dot is considered a core market. And what that means is our full marketing package is being offered here. Our full marketing package is this. Anyone online searching for a room for rent or an affordable place to live in these metros, we're targeting these people through paid marketing ads. So next time they're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they're getting blasted with PadSplit ads. And then secondly, we're also listing on about 25 other third-party sites. So think like Zillow, Roomy, Zumper, Furnish Finder. We're driving views back to your listing through those efforts as well. Now, you can list a property anywhere in the country. Just know the marketing package is limited. It's going to be a little bit more of a joint effort to get those rooms booked, right? You're probably going to have to do some of your own paid ads, things like that. And then in our core markets, we have those boots on the ground vendors that are going to help make your life a lot easier to get the property onboarded. We don't have those relationships in non-core markets. Okay. We've got about 30,000 units across the country. Actually, we're at 32,000 now. When I started a couple years ago, we were at 9. So we're growing, which is really exciting.
You were at 9,000 or 9?
9,000, excuse me. 9,000.
I'm like, damn, Audrey, you freaking launched this company. I mean, still 9,000.
It's grown a lot. It's grown a lot. But yeah, like you said, in Atlanta, we have 10,000 units, which is crazy. People always ask, when are we going to hit saturation? Well, in South Florida right now, And across the country, actually, the average one-bedroom apartment in major metropolitan cities is $1,500 a month. In Florida on September 30th, 2025, the hourly wage increased to $15 an hour. So where do those people live? As long as the, cost of living is increasing, but the minimum wage is staying, around there, the demand for rooms is always going to exist.
Yeah, and here's something I would also say about saturation. So I'm buying in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would tell you, everybody, is 10,000 doors is actually nothing. It's like a drop in the bucket. And every one of our co-living properties, I've got 2 deals in Atlanta, Georgia right now that I'm doing. And we're actually doing 13 residents in each property. I'll show you guys those deals tomorrow. They are ran by PadSplit. And we have waiting lists, even though they have 10,000 units in Atlanta. Here's the advantage. The advantage of Atlanta, or some of the more heavily marketed areas, is that the tenant base is heavily educated on what PadSplit even is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this advantage. You want more saturation. You want the tenants that are being hammered with PadSplit's advertisements in those markets to actually be highly educated about what the heck PadSplit is. What PadSplit's doing is you guys are creating an entire marketplace that did not exist freaking 10, 15 years ago, at least in the normal world's view. When you talk about PadSplit today, even in the investor world, I'd say 90% of investors still do not know what PadSplit is, which is bonkers. So you guys are in the advertisement/education game. And I prefer to be in a market that's a little bit more saturated. To touch base on something, because I know people are like, I live in Montana, and I live in Montana in the summertime, and I have co-living properties in Montana. You guys can look. 90% of you guys don't even know which one of those states that's empty without a blue bubble is Montana. You probably think Idaho's Montana, you geographically challenged knuckleheads. But the point is, what do I do in my PadSplit market, or what do I do with my PadSplit houses in markets that don't have PadSplit? I find SubTo members that are property managers that understand the PadSplit model, and I work with them in those local markets. They do similar to what PadSplit does, not as good. They're not as good as filling the properties, but it works in every single market. And you'll find probably within 5 to 7 years, PadSplit will be across the entire United States. It doesn't mean people aren't doing it in Minnesota. Doesn't mean that people aren't doing it in Montana. I have PadSplit properties in Montana. I just don't have PadSplit to manage and fill those tenants up for me. I use SubTo members, people in my community that know what they're doing, to help me manage and run those properties until PadSplit is in those markets. I already know it's the number one question that's going to pop up. Have I answered that question so it doesn't come up later? Can I get a yes in the side chat that we have answered that question very, very specifically? And are there limits on the stay ease? We'll get to Q&A here in a little bit. Okay. Okay. Keep going. I'm sorry, Audrey. I'll keep,
no worries.
I'll keep interjecting to make sure that the questions that I know are going to pop up at Q&A, we can eliminate them before we get to the Q&A.
Yeah, I think another good kind of thing to touch on is it, for example, again, in Atlanta, we had 30,000 searches on our site last month for rooms.
Dang.
So we haven't even scratched the surface of the demand. It is helpful, though, to think of us as a technology company. So in the same way, Uber has created a marketplace for people who have cars and want to give rides and connect them with people who want to take rides. Everything's self-contained in the tech. And that's essentially how it works on our platform as well. So, the members or our tenants can apply, book, pay, rate their roommates, see their Wi-Fi password. It all lives in the technology. And then investors can see like occupancy, finances, all in the tech. And then property managers can receive and work maintenance tickets there as well. If you have 5 properties with us, you likely have 30, 40 tenants at that point. It's pretty tough to manage without some sort of technology, which is what we've created. So the idea is you're going to go out, scale, buy 1 PadSplit to ideally have 10 in the next couple of years. Our tech allows you to scale seamlessly, and we kind of take a lot of the headache off of you. So I'm going to go through what we kind of do here in a bit, but I want to touch on who our tenants are. And I really like to share this slide for 2 reasons. Number one, it gives you an idea of, where they work. These are individuals that work a full-time role. They don't quite qualify for any government subsidies. They make too much money for that, but they have been priced out from traditional housing. So these are folks that work at places you and I visit on a daily basis. We're interacting with these people constantly. They work in our community, and we want them to be able to live in the community. But also, this slide should your wheels should be spinning about where should I be acquiring a PadSplit, right? So it should be in and around where hourly wage folks work. If I'm trying to save money on gas or I need to take the bus to work, I'm not traveling 20 miles. I'm traveling 2 or 3. So you should be acquiring around places like Amazon, FedEx, UPS, warehouse type places. Think like hospitality, shopping centers. Walkability to a bus stop is really important. Half of our tenants do rely on public transportation to get to and from work. If you're not near a bus stop, every single tenant's going to have a car. So it's important to consider that because there's not many neighbors that are okay with 8 cars parked outside of a property. So I think walkability to a bus stop is key.
And Audrey did a good job of answering the question before we get to the question, which is how do you deal with and address parking? You guys assume that every one of these people has 3 cars and they're living in your houses. Half of my tenants do not have cars. Half of my tenants do not have cars. Half of my tenants do not have cars. They have a scooter, they have a bike, they have a skateboard, they walk to the bus. What do you think, everybody in the side chat, what do you think is my number one demographic in Phoenix, Arizona? We have a lot of hospitals in Phoenix, Arizona. What's my number one demographic of tenants? There you go. Nurses, traveling nurses, assistants that work at hospitals, people that work the gurney, like the gurneymen, all sorts of stuff. People that just finished college or just finished their schooling that are trying to save money. Tons of people that work in there you go, CNA, okay? Hospital staff is huge. So highly respectable people. They wear their scrubs. They work 16, 14-hour days. Sometimes they work doubles. These people need affordable places to live to pay off their student loans. And that is my number one demographic on here. Also, my second one, Audrey doesn't have it on here, is freaking Target. I don't know what it is, but I got a lot of Target tenants. Maybe I just have a lot of houses near Target, but I have a lot of tenants that work at Target.
Yeah, it's people stocking groceries at your local grocery store, working the deli counter. It's your kid's 2nd grade teacher's aide. I recently listed a property. First person to book was like a local police dispatcher. And think gig workers, think the person that waits on you at your favorite restaurant. Like those people are working an hourly wage. And actually our average demographic of tenant is a 36-year-old male, which people are very shocked when I tell them that. So we'll talk about staging and what kind of furniture to put in rooms, considering our average demographic and who that person is. But at PadSplit, when a member signs up, they're choosing a room where the weekly price is set by you guys. So you're in charge of the pricing. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you an average based on how other properties in the area are performing, kind of what they're charging. But ultimately, you're setting the price and adjusting it accordingly. That rate includes utilities, access to washer and dryer, and Wi-Fi. So you guys are responsible for the expenses. This slide is really just to kind of give you a breakdown of current investment challenges and why our strategy really works in any market. This is the fun part. This is the strategy. So this is how it can become very lucrative for investors. And here's how it starts to make sense. If you remember at the beginning, I said historically investors really haven't been incentivized to house low income earners. Well, this is how you become incentivized very quickly. So on the left-hand side, we have a single family home. It's a 4-bedroom property. As a long-term rental, it rents for about $2,000 a month to a single individual or a small family. That property has a lot of underutilized space in it. In a PadSplit property, we strongly encourage the conversion of common areas for a couple of reasons. Number one, the people that are living in this property and renting rooms, they don't know each other. They're not friends. They're not family. We really don't need to create space within the property for them to kind of hang out and watch football and chill together. We want to create space within their rooms that incentivize them to want to be in there for the most part, unless they're in the kitchen cooking a meal. Secondly, the cash flow lies in the room additions. So you might as well convert, in this case, the living room and the dining room by adding some sheetrock, insulation, and a door. And now you have bedrooms 5 and 6. On the right-hand side, you can see it's now been converted into a co-living property, and you have the potential to more than 2x your gross revenue on a PadSplit scenario.
I'm a weirdo, and I saw Atticus, who's the owner of the company. I saw him a couple of days ago,
Mhm.
and I was like, bro, where's the garage? Because I convert all of my garages into 2 bedrooms. I also will convert an Arizona room. You guys, I don't know what you guys call Arizona rooms. Basically, everybody in Florida, you guys have them there. Like you guys call them like mosquito rooms or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what you
I
guys
think
call
we
it.
call them Florida rooms, actually.
Okay, cool. So we convert our Arizona rooms, which are the back of the house. This is where I'm a lunatic. I love what you did with bedroom 5 on the right-hand side, but I actually feel like there should be a 7th bedroom in here, and it's the dining room. I would get rid of the dining room.
I would too.
And now, why is Audrey keeping this here? Because Audrey's a seasoned vet, and she knows the people she's presenting to are like, what? Wait, wait, are you serious? These people don't need a dining room? No. Most of my tenants don't even eat at the house. They might have like a little fridge for like little snacks and stuff like that, or a little drawer where they have whatever, but 99% of their meals, they're eating away from the home. They're eating at their office. They're eating on their way to the gym. I have a lot of tenants that actually shower at the gym. They're not using the shower at the house, even though they might have access to it across the hall. They go to the bathroom in there, whatever. They're not showering there. They're not getting ready there. They wake up early. They go to the gym. They shower there. They eat lunch at work. They eat dinner before they get back home. They're not really there to live their life. They're there to save money. They're there to build their life and afford to maybe put a down payment on a future house for themselves. I've learned in my properties, the lesson that Audrey just laid down so strongly. She says the extra cash flow does not come from anything other than the freaking bedrooms. And so every time we did extra amenities and let me do 7 washers and dryers and let me give everybody their own refrigerator in the garage, it did not benefit. They did not care. They did not use it. I thought lockers and extra storage and let me charge $25 for this. Guys, they just want a bedroom and they want a place to stay that's safe and clean. And they don't care about the dining room. It actually invites people to congregate with each other. And that's not why they're staying at a co-living property, is to congregate.
Yeah, I think another thing too, I have a lot of Airbnb hosts come over and want to convert and start doing PadSplit. And they're like, well, what if it has a pool? What if it has a pool table? Like, can I charge more for that? I'm like, you can't. We're kind of capped at what we can charge people in a co-living house when we're asking them to share a bathroom with someone they don't know, right? Like pools and game rooms and things don't really factor into the room rate. If I'm going to start charging too much money for my rooms, these people are just going to go get studio apartments where they don't have to share common area spaces with people they don't know. So the cash flow, again, lives in the conversion of the common area spaces. And I would love to walk you. Go ahead.
One thing while she's pulling this up, I want to point something out. You guys should follow them on Instagram. They're finally doing something I've been telling them to do for a while, which is highlighting their tenants. Because you guys look at these tenants, I do too. And I'm like, bro, I have 4 kids. I've got a wife. Like, I'm not going to go live in a house. It's hard to understand your tenants. However, it's easier to understand an Airbnb tenant because you would go stay at an Airbnb, right? What they've done a good job of on their Instagram is they've started highlighting tenants in their story, and you start recognizing why people desperately need you to solve this problem. They desperately need you to solve this. Nobody needs you to start another Airbnb, guys. I'm sorry. We don't need more Airbnbs. In fact, let's get rid of half the Airbnbs, and it still is too many Airbnbs. The world needs more PadSplit, and these tenants desperately are asking for more of them. We just simply don't have enough. You guys could probably 20x your foothold and still be dramatically underserving the market. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of people think we have an affordable housing shortage across the country, but we actually have 78 million empty bedrooms that are being underutilized in the country. So there's a lot of space for people. We just need to utilize those bedrooms. I like to pull up this property. It's a good example of what's possible with conversion. It's a ranch style property in Tampa. It launched in 2022. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath. Now it's an 8-bed, 2-bath. And it's pretty simple what they did. When you walk in here is the kitchen and the small table. We do require somewhere for them to sit and eat, but again, this is an 8-bedroom house. all 8 tenants are never going to be home sharing a meal together. I can promise you that. You could even do bar stools right here, and that would suffice. But there's no common area space outside of the kitchen. That's because they've walled this off here and created 4 more bedrooms. And then there's 4 bedrooms down this hall. So I'll walk you through a bedroom. Now this is going to be considered a cozy bedroom. 80 square feet is the minimum square footage, with the shortest wall being 7 feet long. Again, cozy room. It'll be the cheapest in the house. It'll be the first to book because it's the cheapest, but it'll turn more often, right? Because it's small. Again, think 36-year-old male. This is kind of a tight little room, but sometimes this is where the cash flow lies, the small rooms that, you had to make work. My suggestion would just be don't have a house full of tiny 80 square foot bedrooms, right? You need a mixture. If it works at 7 rooms that are standard size, I wouldn't try to do 10 rooms that are 80 square feet. You'd have a ton of turnover. It's going to kill your net. We do require egress in every single bedroom. Now, we are challenging zoning laws at PadSplit, so we like to do everything else by the book. We really need egress in every single bedroom, and we're being really strict on that right now. Furnishings are minimal. You're setting up the basics. They bring what they need. So bed frame, mattress, light fixture, ventilation, somewhere for them to put their clothes. This is a converted bedroom, so it does not have a closet. So we do require somewhere for them to have their clothes put away. I would suggest a hanging system over a dresser. And then, make it cute and cozy. Now, if
Can we talk about the average cost to set up a room?
Yep.
My team does a little bit more than I think your standard client does. We do like totes underneath the bed. We do a couple of like little things, but my average cost to get a room all the way set up, mattress, everything, is a little under $800. Are you finding that's about what your clients
I
are
tell
spending?
everyone to budget $800 per room.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, like, if you took a photo of this room and listed on our site, we'll get views to it. We guarantee views. We don't guarantee bookings. So in a metro like Tampa, where we have 2,200 bedrooms now, you probably could have gotten away with this in 2022, but you need to do a little more to stay competitive. My suggestion would be to, virtually stage the bed with linens that just photographs a lot nicer. I would do like some sort of photo here. And then I saw a resale photo recently where it was a turnkey PadSplit for sale. And so it's a leased up property. So all the tenant stuff is in the bedrooms, and all their stuff was lined up along the floor because they had nowhere to put their things. So it kind of sparked something in me to just mention, like, make it so that they can bring their stuff and make it their own. If they make it their own, they'll stay a long time. PadSplit only works when all the rooms are leased up. That's when you're cash flowing. If you've got a lot of turnover and vacancy, it starts to not make a lot of sense. So you want to incentivize long-term stays. So make it so that they can come in, bring their stuff, and like make it their own space, and they won't go anywhere else. They won't be looking on PadSplit for a better room option. So that's really important. I really try to drill that in. And then every single room should have, some sort of indicator on it, number, letter. And then ideally they're coming in, punching in their 4-digit code, and they have access to their own private bedroom. Think dorm room living for adults, spending 90% of their time in here, 10% coming out here to clean or to cook and do laundry. Another thing.
Okay, so a couple questions I would ask if I'm new. By the way, I love the virtual walkthrough. I've done, 50 presentations with PadSplit over the years, but I've never gotten a virtual walkthrough like this, so I appreciate it. Okay, so a couple of things I would ask if I'm brand new. Cameras.
Yeah.
Are there, I put cameras in my main living areas.
Yeah.
I do not put it to cover, obviously, bedrooms, living areas, any of that kind of stuff, but when human beings are involved in, cohabitating, I think it's a little bit unintelligent to not have cameras in like the main areas. Do you suggest they have cameras?
Well, I definitely suggest having them on the exterior of the property because A, you need to know who's coming through that door. And B, we have a no pet policy. So it just, you can understand who's checking in. And then I think it keeps people honest to have cameras in the common area spaces. It's not like you're watching the camera 24/7, but if something goes missing, you can just roll the tape. It's really simple. I think you're required to put in your listing that you have cameras, so there's no surprises when they move in. But they can request to book your property knowing there's cameras there, and they can make an educated decision. If they're cool with it, then great. But the thing is, you're operating this PadSplit the way you want to operate it. So you're setting the guidelines, the rules, and you're enforcing them within your own property.
Yeah. And I would suggest to everybody that you want to attract the clients that actually appreciate the cameras, not the ones that don't. And they're the ones that are like, oh yeah, I want to be in a house that has cameras protected. If you have clients that are like, I want to stay here, but are there cameras there? Or the cameras really bother me. It's like, why would a camera bother you if it's only in the main areas? In fact, it adds for security and it keeps everybody else honest. That's a red flag for me. So I don't want the clients. Now, I doubt you're going to have a lot of them, but we don't deal with it. I have a hard line in the sand that says cameras on all of our main living areas. Every door has a camera, like exterior door. So people, however they get in and out of the house. We have one on the front of the house, so we know who's coming in, who's parking, who's not parking. We have one, obviously, in the kitchen. The refrigerator, when I didn't have one on the refrigerator, people were not honest. They were stealing each other's snacks. Stupid. But this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't had that problem since. We had one problem about 3 months ago. I don't manage the properties, so I rarely hear about anything, but we had a lady that was annoying another guy. She had a crush on him. And so she was pestering him as he went out into the backyard to take a smoke break. She would go to the back blinds and open up the blinds and just stare at him like a freaking weirdo. And he would message our property manager and he'd say, dude, this lady's bothering us or bothering me. She's stalking me. And it doesn't sound, normally it's, the other way around. It's a dude stalking a woman. And we went back, we looked at the footage and she kept denying it. We're like, lady, here's the footage. Please leave the guy alone. We ended up having to get her into another property because she fell in love with the guy. I wouldn't be able to prove that if I didn't have cameras. So cameras for me are a hard line in the sand. Is there anything else, Audrey, that you have clients do different things versus other clients? For example, individual air conditioning units in bedrooms or anything like that. I feel like that's overkill and it doesn't produce any additional revenue, but I do see some of my students going that direction and like giving people their own remote control. Do you see those types of things?
Yeah, I think that, well, actually I was at a PadSplit last week and there was a member there and I asked her, what's the most important piece of furniture you have in your bedroom? And she said, my mini fridge. She said, I wouldn't book a room without a mini fridge. Because she's like, I live in a house with 8 other people, stuff goes missing. I don't want my food mixed with other people's. So the other thing I would suggest is a desk in every room. Before a television, before a mini fridge, I would put a desk in the rooms because outside of the bed, this is the only place to sit in the entire house. So I think give them a private place to sit within their bedroom that allows them to pay bills, read, study, do what they need to do privately. I think the desk is really important.
Agree with that. Otherwise they're leaving the property and then they start justifying in their mind, I need to go stay somewhere else, right? They also don't watch a lot of TV. That's the surprising thing. I was like, when we were starting out, PadSplit told me, and I just didn't pay attention, listen to your AEs, guys. They're badasses. And you can't spell badasses without A and E. You know what I'm saying? So
very true.
They told me, don't go buy TV space unless you have desks. I was like, bro, people like TV. No, they like watching stuff on their phone and they have their own
tablet.
Their tablet or whatever. They don't want the TV. They don't want to have to log into Netflix and deal with all that kind of crap. And neither do you. People break TVs. They bump into TVs. And you don't need a TV for the main living area. There's nowhere for them to hang out and vibe. So they're going to watch their own stuff on their own laptop, on their own phone with a headset, get them a freaking desk. And the way you should do the desk is buy a desk that has drawers on the side. So it also can potentially double as an armoire.
I like that. Yeah, I have a property manager that I work with a lot. He manages over 1,000 rooms and he's like, Audrey, TVs are a nightmare. He's like, I get so many maintenance tickets because people don't know how to work the remote. He's like, I don't do TVs. So yeah, desk, mini fridge, I think would be, I have a list of requirements. I have a list of nice to haves. Those nice to haves will help you achieve maybe some higher rents and stay competitive in your market.
Love it.
Last thing I'll touch on is just the bed to bath ratio. So no more than 4 people can share one bathroom. In 90% of properties that you guys are going to be sourcing, one of those bathrooms is going to be inside of a primary suite. And so with considering the ratio, if you only have 2 bathrooms in the house, you're going to be capped at 5 bedrooms. A lot of times 5 might not be enough for you to cash flow, which is the goal. So what they've done here is they've created a hallway. They've walled this off and created a hallway so everyone has access to this bedroom, which allowed them to capitalize on the square footage and max out at 8 bedrooms in this house. So that's just something to think about.
Really smart, really smart. And this is why I tell people the golden ratio for me, look, I'll buy a 3-bed, 2-bath all day long. All day long, I'll buy a 3-bed, 2-bath. But the chances are I'm going to have to convert that primary bathroom with a hallway, what Audrey just showed you, pretty high. Like that's like a 90% likelihood. I would rather, the golden number for me is a 4-bed, 3-bath house because I usually shoot for a 9-bed property. Why? Because I'm a little bit more seasoned. I learned how to squeeze everything I can and still keep the average square footage of a bedroom 80 to 120 square feet. But I also have a bunch of houses with 10 residents in the property and I'm taking the garage, et cetera. So I want to start with 3 bathrooms. It's really easy, as Audrey talked about earlier, to throw up some drywall and a freaking door and some paint versus I need to add a whole other bathroom. So as you're looking for pad split properties, look for minimum 2 bathrooms. And preferably, if you don't want to do the extra renovation and pull a permit for a bathroom, then look for houses that have 3 bathrooms already inside of them.
Yeah, I think that 3rd bathroom is goals. Because then if you have that, you're just going in, throwing up, you don't need permits to add sheetrock, insulation, and a door. That's the easy, I mean, you could get this thing up and running within 30 days of closing, 2 weeks of closing. Okay, back to what PadSplit does. Okay, so we are the marketplace. You create a listing on our site and we promise views to your listing through our marketing efforts. You can throw a mattress on the floor and take a dark iPhone photo and list it on our site and we'll get you views, but we don't guarantee bookings. Okay, so there is a formula to this. Work with your AE on how to stage and set up. We went through some of it today. You'll create a listing on our site. We're going to drive views to your rooms. We don't promise bookings. I want to make that very clear. But if you follow the formula, it will be successful. Once someone's interested in booking, we screen that tenant. So we run the background check, employment verification, income verification, identity verification. We're verifying income. They can log in through Plaid. They can submit income documentation. We'll qualify them. Then once they're approved, they can request to book your room. You're going to get a profile of a person in front of you. So Joe Smith has passed screening. He's never had an eviction. He works at Amazon. He's rated clean, communicative, and respectful by other pad mates and hosts. He wants to stay a minimum 3 months. He's on time with payments 89% of the time. Do you want to approve or deny his stay? Yes or no? And then based on your criteria, you will approve or deny Joe, and then he moves in, and then you're
I'm gonna approve Joe. I like that.
Okay.
I don't love that he's only 89%, but that's pretty dang good. And I like all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You also collect a $25 fee on anybody that's late. We have a host who talks about this all the time. He's like, I made an extra $5,000 last year on late fees. There's, with people who are renting a room who are hourly wage, some people are just notoriously late. Like they're just not great at managing their money. They can afford it, but they're just gonna always pay a $25 late fee, which makes no sense, but it happens. We're gonna collect from Joe. He decides what day of the week he wants to make his payment on. Let's say it's Thursday, because that's when Amazon pays him. We're calling him, texting him, emailing him up until the date of the payment due date. We're reminding him when he's late. We're keeping him on track. We have a team solely dedicated to payment collections, and we have a 97% collection rate on payments.
That's crazy.
And then lastly, and I think it's the weekly collection. I think that just works well for our demographic of tenants, keeps them on track. And then onboarding consultation. we've kind of stressed this a lot, but just working with your dedicated AE to ensure that you're setting this property up for success. This just outlines our roles and responsibilities versus yours, but high level, you guys are responsible for everything on the ground. Proactive maintenance, reactive maintenance, room turns, landscaping, conversing with the tenants as it relates to the physical property, and enforcing rules within your property. So Tony ate my peanut butter. Person in room number 2 looked at me funny. That falls on you guys unless you outsource a third-party PM. Our third-party PMs, most of them charge like 6% of revenue. Some charge $50 per room per month. They're worth their weight in gold. I would highly suggest that you outsource a third-party PM.
They won't, Audrey. They're knuckleheads.
They won't initially, and then they will later. Trust me.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about fee structure?
Yeah. You
Okay.
mean me? No, I don't. I actually don't know.
Okay, so
I have here's what I know about PadSplit. Buy a house, give it to PadSplit, make money. That's what I know. My team manages my stuff and works with you guys. So I don't know your guys' fee structure. I know it's changed a couple times over the last couple of years. All I know is my properties make money and you guys are great.
Well, we don't make money until tenants move in. So, we want to ensure the success of the property. You're setting it up properly. We're going to fill the rooms because we want people to want to move in here because we're not going to get paid unless we're filling rooms. So any tenant we place through our marketing efforts, we collect the first 10 days of rent. 100% goes to PadSplit. So tenant moves in, days 1 through 10, 100% goes to PadSplit. Starting day 11 of their stay and every day thereafter until they move out, we take 8% on every dollar. Average stay is about 6 to 9 months. Actually, on average, your rooms will turn 1.7 times per year. So I would underwrite 10 to 12% on an annual basis for our fee. Now, when they request a book, they're going to have chosen one of 2 options. Minimum stay of 3 months. If they've chosen that option, they will, it's someone that's looking for a longer term stay. If they break that commitment, they pay you an extra week, which offsets our 10-day fee a bit. Or they'll choose the flex stay option. If they choose that option, they pay $175 up front, which you get, which offsets our 10-day fee a bit. Now let's get into our lease structure. And most of our properties have between 6 and 10 unrelated individuals living in them, that they're all zoned mostly as single family homes, right? Local jurisdictions, for the most part, allow between 3 and 5 unrelated living in a home together zoned as a single family. So this is our strategy. This is our legal strategy. It holds up very well for us. On paper, PadSplit LLC is your tenant. You're going to sign a 12-month agreement with PadSplit LLC as your tenant. Within that agreement, you're giving PadSplit LLC to rent rooms to its members. So when a tenant signs up, they pass screening, they sign a membership agreement. It's essentially our lease with them. And it says, I'm going to be a good tenant. I understand I'm only renting a room in the house. I'm going to pay weekly. I'm going to respect the property, and I'm going to leave when I'm asked to. Once they agree to those terms, they're placed under PadSplit LLC as a member of that LLC, and our interpretation says they're related through that LLC and under the same household. Okay. This interpretation, like I said, it holds up very well for us. We are challenging zoning laws. And so we like to do everything else kind of by the book, like I mentioned, and to keep the level of risk extremely low. I've onboarded over 800 properties at this point. I've had 2 people that have had issues with code enforcement. One was a permitting problem, and the other one was in way too nice of a neighborhood. So to keep the level of risk low, follow the buy box. Plain and simple. Acquire in a B- C-class neighborhood. Those work best for PadSplit. A-rated neighborhood is too nice. There is such thing as too nice for PadSplit. Those really, the neighbors are just going to make it too difficult for you to operate. So you want to kind of fly under the radar in a neighborhood where there's a lot of rentals off a busy road. And you want to be within walking distance of a bus stop so that you can minimize the cars outside. And you want to be one of the nicer houses in the neighborhood. You want to manage your lawn. You want to manage the trash. And we want to make sure that we have ops in place to manage the property properly. And if you do that, you'll be successful. That's really all I got for you.
Okay, let's do a little bit of Q&A. I mean, I did interject a couple times, but there's a bunch of stuff that I already know where the questions are going to be. The questions are going to be about evictions. They're going to be about, let's see, what did we not cover super in depth? People don't understand the value of the way you guys structure your paperwork and how you guys set up your memberships, because these are not as the way that I like to describe it. These are not tenants, these are members, and therefore they do not adhere to normal tenant landlord laws and regulations. We have literally never had a problem whatsoever with this. I know that local laws have tried to challenge PadSplit. They've lost every single time that I'm aware of. When she says we challenge code or we challenge zoning, that's a really diplomatic way of saying we don't give a shiz about zoning. She's not going to say that. I'm going to say that. I don't give a crap. And what I love about what she said is she says the way we get around the related members in the house, that's where zoning comes in, is you go, hey, you can't have more than 6 people in this property unrelated. The way that their legal counsel has set this up, and it's been highly successful, is they make those people related through the LLC. Also, I've been challenged by HOAs and they've lost to me. So again, I don't care about zoning. So some of you guys that are going to be the overthinkers about zoning, go be an Airbnb host and lose a bunch of money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to follow what's working right now, which, look, I don't want to go into a nice $2 million neighborhood. There's other strategies for that, which I'm not going to talk about today, but wraps, lease options. You could seller finance to families. You could do end buyers. You could do all sorts of stuff with creative finance, different strategies for higher end of it, neighborhoods. PadSplit, I have properties in A- neighborhoods, B+ neighborhoods. She's suggesting B-. I'd say the worst house I have is probably a B-. Most of my houses are actually pretty dang nice. Also, we don't have lawns in Arizona. We have rock. So I don't have to worry about it. And when you pull up to my houses, they're not overly nice, but they're very cute. Like if I had to have one of my friends or my employees stay there for a couple of months, every one of my houses, I am proud to let somebody stay in them. They are cute, but you're not overdoing it. You're not over renovating. You're not over decorating. You're not putting wallpaper and the nicest tile and, hey, I'm going to make these glass shower doors and all that kind of stuff. You're just not doing it. So your cost effectiveness to get into these is really, really low. And if you're using creative finance, you can actually structure these. Like I told you guys on the first call that I had, you can get into most of your deals with no money out of your pocket, including the renovation. We'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow. So Carly, if you could let people raise their hand and let's go to some Q&A. Did everybody get some value from Audrey today? Can I get a yes in the side chat? You guys got some value from Audrey today.
Awesome.
Audrey,
Yes.
let me ask about the first question. The first question I got is, what rules do most of your PadSplit hosts break that you wish they did not break?
Ooh, such a good question.
Like you're like freaking knucklehead. It's like maybe it's the TV suggestion. Maybe it's they're over improving the property. Like what do you think are the things that your tenants or your
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is like setting expectations up front with people before they move in. Hey, this is how I operate. Do you agree to this, this, and this? I kind of operate under kind of a 3-strike program. I see you breaking a rule, I'm going to warn you, then I'm going to fine you, then I'm going to issue you a notice to vacate and ask you to leave. It's people that kind of just don't have any plan in place that launch a PadSplit and they're like, whoa, this is a little overwhelming. I think setting expectations up front goes a long way with tenants.
Okay, I love that. A couple of quick questions in the side chat before we go to people have their hands raised. Daisy says, great presentation.
Thank
I
you.
agree. She's a badass. Do you always provide laundry? Out of your 800 houses, do you have 100% of them have laundry facilities?
Daisy, you don't want to be the host that doesn't provide laundry because then they're just going to go book a house down the street that it comes with the rent.
Yeah. I would say if I'm going to over improve any property, I have a property, Maddie, the homeless. Do you know about Maddie, the homeless person, Audrey? You and I don't know each other very well.
I don't think so.
Okay. So I helped a homeless lady last summer buy her first PadSplit with creative finance, and she rents out 9 bedrooms and she lives in one for free. And She gets paid $2,000 a month in net cash flow on that property. And she got out of a women's shelter for living there for
Wow.
Oh yeah. Go on my YouTube channel. It's an incredible story. And anyway, that property, I told her, I said, hey, Maddie, this is 10 bedrooms and you got a pretty large laundry room. I would splurge an extra couple $1,000 and let's get a second set of laundry.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're going to spend money anywhere, definitely ditch the TVs and go to a second set of laundry. If you have probably over 7, 8, definitely over 9 or 10 residents. Do you agree with
Such
this?
a good point. So that actually leads me to something I always really like to touch on. So most of our rooms on average across the country go for about $800 a month. That includes utilities, access to washer and dryer and Wi-Fi. And then we like to say that we offer housing that's clean, safe, and functional. If you look on Zillow right now, anywhere in the country, I don't care where you are, and you try to find housing that's clean, safe, and functional all in for $800 a month, it literally does not exist. So people will stay a long time. The one thing that how I should have answered your last question is like, where do investors skimp? The functionality piece. Like, put yourself in their shoes. There's 10 people living here. You've got one set of laundry, right? It's going to get old really, really quickly. So yeah, absolutely. 2 sets of stackable, 2 sets all day long. I think that goes a really long way.
Okay. Love it. Another couple questions. How much do you charge me as an AE or account rep, or account executive? How much do you charge me to help me understand if it's a good deal or bad deal for me to buy?
0.
Guys, she covered this twice. You're a freaking lunatic that you're asking this question again, but that's okay. I'll give you virtual hugs. That was Frederick.
Yeah, the only thing I ask is don't send me 10 properties and be like, can you tell me which one's the best? Send me 2.
Yeah.
Narrow it down to 2.
Yeah, get a little bit more resourceful on the front end. Don't utilize your account executive for the wrong things, but they are there to help you out. Somebody says, does the property manager manage the cameras and the drama? Can you refer a good property manager in all markets?
Yes. So some of the newer markets, those relationships are still kind of being developed. But absolutely, any core market, we're going to be able to find you a property manager. And these are folks that have created a business around co-living. They know what they're doing. And yes, they're managing the nest, they're managing the cameras, they're managing all of that. You should have access to those as well as the owner.
Okay. And somebody says, can I live in the property like Maddie, Pace's homeless lady, did in the very beginning? The answer is absolutely. Yes, you can. It's your freaking house.
Hmm.
You can party and you can not pay the rent. You can live there and manage the property in person. Absolutely. It's the ultra house hack. If you think about it, it actually will cash flow. You can have your own nice bedroom. You can take the primary bedroom with your dedicated bathroom. Just make sure the other bedrooms have bathrooms. Now, I have a property manager on top of PadSplit that charges, I think they're $40 a room per month. So some houses, it's like they're managing for $400, right? PadSplit does the screening. They do the marketing. They do all sorts of things that a property manager normally does to fill the property. My property managers are $40 a month on top of PadSplit's management fee. So hopefully that helps you guys out with that. We have nothing to do with the properties. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be involved. I have SOPs. I have processes. I have all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Another question that pops up very frequently is, how do you deal with permitting for building the additional rooms? Guys, I'm going to tell you my personality. I don't give a flying rat's behind about your local laws about adding can lights and outlets. I'm throwing up drywall and sheetrock. I'm sorry, same thing, but I'm throwing up baseboard, drywall, framing, and closing out bedrooms. I will move ducting around. I will add can lights. I will add outlets, ceiling fans, paint properties. I will switch out smoke detectors. I will switch out hot water heaters. I will do everything without a city's approval because 99% of the time it's going to take them months to be like, why? I don't even know why you called us. Why did you call us for this? You should have just gotten this done. Where I call and get permitting involved is where plumbing is being moved underground. Okay. I'm not going to go and change a faucet and be like, oh, I need a permit. No, dude, underground plumbing, you should go get a permit, which is adding a bathroom. I'm not going to pull a permit for a shower. I'm not going to pull a permit for tile or carpet or paint or any of those things. Those are cosmetic things. Okay. I'm not adding structural things. If I'm knocking out a wall that is a bearing wall, I'm going to go get a structural engineer to tell me this is okay. But guess what? I've never done that in a co-living property. You're very rarely moving around and like demolishing the inside of a house. We have pulled I currently own, I think 20 co-living properties. I have pulled a permit one time. So hopefully that helps you guys get some clarity. Do you find that most of your clients are doing the same thing, Audrey?
Yeah, I mean, adding sheetrock insulation, typically you're not pulling a permit for that. Maybe if you're converting a garage, knocking out a window for egress, adding a bathroom, maybe you would. It just kind of depends on the investor and their appetite for permitting.
Okay, cool. Let's go to Shaniqua Little. Shaniqua Little, what do you got for me? We're going to go through and do 5 questions. I'll pull them randomly out of the side chat. Shaniqua Little, what do you got for us?
Yes, hello. This has been an awesome session. So thank you so much. Just understanding how the tenants kind of navigate in the co-living space. So how is cooking and laundry handled? Are there schedules? Is that a property manager preference? How are details like that addressed?
Good
You want me to
question.
answer that?
You can, yeah.
For me specifically, 30 seconds. We have our own processes that we like based on what we've learned through our own individual properties. And we set schedules. What we usually do in all of our houses, not usually, what we do in all of our houses is there's somebody that is like the key person that we find is the most reliable. And we usually reduce their rent by $100 a month, or maybe even sometimes $200 a month. They're like the house mother, right? Like they're setting the schedule, they're texting people, they're not annoying. Their name is not Karen, so they're not going to be annoying. They're going to be great and loving and appreciative. And they're like, dude, I'm so grateful to be here. My kids are grown up and I'm looking for an affordable place to stay. And if I could save an extra $200 by sending a dozen text messages throughout the week to make sure, hey, John, notice you cleaned the thing. Do you mind cleaning that up? I see Sharon's going to jump in. They're not there full time, right? They got their own jobs. They got their whatever. But for like $200 a month, I have an in-house house mother that's running the show, and it's worked out really great. I have 20 roughly properties. Most of those are women because they're a little bit more organized, a little bit more attention to detail than men usually are. Yes, men and women do share housing together. We've attempted men only and women only pad splits. It just doesn't matter. We tried it. It doesn't matter. They're okay living in a co-living spaces. And so hopefully that helps answer that question. We've learned and adopted our own systems and processes. And I train my SubTo members on how I do that specifically. Audrey, how would you answer that question?
I would answer it a little differently. Like from my experience, these people are all adults, someone will dedicate them as the house mother pretty instantly. So you're going to hear person in room number 2 has a guest over, person in room number 3 left their dishes in the sink. So yes, that will happen naturally. But I think that kind of go into it as understanding these people are adults. They made an educated decision to move into a co-living house. They've agreed to these rules. Give them the opportunity to be adults until it becomes a problem. Then maybe implement some rules and regulations if it becomes an issue.
Awesome. And then one last question. Converting
Shaniqua,
single family.
I'm so disappointed that if you have a last name of Little, you don't say stuff like, hey, I have a little question. Like, why are you not starting it off that way?
Because I do things big all the time. That's why.
Okay. That's
Love
a good
it.
answer. I like that answer.
Okay, one last question, one big, awesome, fabulous question. Insulation, like when you're converting a single family house, typically bedrooms are built for a whole family that knows each other. How do you deal with sound or
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the rooms that you're converting by the kitchen, those need to be insulated really well because they're right next to where people are going to be cooking and hanging out. So that's such a good question. I always touch on that. Those rooms that are being converted near common area spaces need to be soundproof. Or else they're going to turn. They're going to turn more often. So whatever you can do to soundproof those better, I would do it.
Yeah, there's like actually a handful of ways to do this, and they cost very little amount of money. So number one is switch out from the $60 hollow core door that come with the house, switch to a solid core door, which is about $100. So it's like $40 more. So you could switch out your entire house doors, the interior of them, to solid core doors that are like flat panel, but they're solid. That makes a massive difference because and plus tenants are going to beat them up anyway. They're going to be closing, opening. It's better to just have a solid core door. Also, it's safer for their stuff. So when we market it and we're saying stuff like our doors are solid core doors, some tenants, 5% of tenants are like, oh, cool, the doors are really solid. You can't just kick these in. They're really, really solid. But they also kill the sound. Second thing you can do is on the interior of the wall, you can either do spray foam insulation, which actually can sound deaden and make your air conditioning costs go down, which is nice. Or you can add more batten or rolled insulation. But the easiest way to do it is if you go to Home Depot, they now have a very thin soundproofing drywall that you can put on top of the existing drywall. So instead of pulling the drywall off to the framing, you actually can add another layer of sheetrock to the existing sheetrock that is a soundproofing layer specifically. It's very inexpensive. You can zip through it and it doesn't take up any square footage of the bedroom, but you want to make sure that the bedrooms are definitely soundproof as close to the kitchen as possible. Cool.
Love it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the big question. Should equal little. Let's go to Daniel Trevino. Daniel Trevino, what up, homie? How you doing?
Pretty good, Pace. How are you?
I'm really good. What do you got for us? How can we help?
My question, and appreciate you, Audrey. Appreciate y'all's time, by the way. So my question has to do with, in reference to the furniture budget that we would be looking into, does PadSplit have a vendor network that we could utilize?
Yeah, good question. We actually don't have any like furniture vendor relationships, but what I do have is I have that list I mentioned earlier, the requirements, the nice to haves, and then I have a corresponding spreadsheet that has good, better, best options and links associated with those. So I'm happy to provide that to you if you need it. It's things like metal bed frames, locks that we suggest, mattresses, everything that you need to furnish the property. And it's
Okay.
inexpensive stuff.
Yeah, and I'd say like
Fair
15 years ago, Daniel, like in the fix and flip world, all of us people that were fixing and flipping and being contractors, is there was always like some really special relationship you could build with these suppliers of like, I got a secret super duper discount. In the advent of Amazon, Amazon's destroyed all of that. And now everybody just gets really freaking good pricing. I have one student in Atlanta, Georgia. His name's Pat. And Pat builds all of the co-living properties for my students in Atlanta. And Pat imports everything from Turkey and other places. And he's like a unicorn. He's the only person. Everybody else just uses Amazon. And there's very common links everybody uses. And Audrey has those links and most everybody else has those links. It's just so inexpensive already that here's the other thing too. I watch more novice new people starting out and they will go out of their way spending 3 weeks trying to save $1,000 on the overall furniture budget. And I look as an acquisition guy, I'm like $1,000. I'd rather just go get another deal and make 30 grand, 40 grand in my up. I'll show you guys how tomorrow, the first thing I'll do. I already showed this to you tomorrow, but I think I have some people that probably are showing up on day 2 for the first time. I will start tomorrow showing you how I get paid to buy my properties. And so if I know I can get paid 20 grand up front to buy and renovate my properties, I don't want to waste any time trying to save $1,000 and spend 3 weeks trying to whittle down those prices. I'd rather just go speed and focus on getting the next one. And I know that Daniel, you're probably in alignment with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I apologize. I must have missed that. I'm trying to write as fast as I could. So I appreciate
Don't apologize.
you. Thank you.
Don't apologize. Happy to do it. Happy to answer questions multiple times in a row. We're happy to what is the word? Repetition is the mother of learning. So happy to give that to you. Let's go to Elizabeth Smith. Elizabeth Smith, what up?
Are you asking me something?
Well, you have your hand raised, so I hope so.
Oh, it was by accident. I guess God punched the button.
Well, Elizabeth, here's what God wanted me to tell you. Okay.
Okay.
He wanted me to tell you that you are loved and appreciated, and I'm grateful that you're hanging out with us today.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I think this is so wonderful that the I know, I really believe it's in Bible prophecy, you know, when it says that there's a famine coming and that there will be at a time in the future, way future, where there will be no people in the houses. And I think this is just one step that direction, but I think it's very necessary. And I can see that, yes, we have thousands of empty apartments here, and we have thousands of people on the street that can't get at them, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, we get
so
it.
I understand it.
Good, good. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for allowing us to chat with you for a couple of minutes. Appreciate that. Let's go to Joe Lavery. Joe, what up?
Hey. A couple questions. Really just, so I'm in Minnesota. Don't cringe too bad.
Don't worry, bro. I started a learning center there. I'm making so much freaking money right now. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, they're all over the place.
Nobody laughs at that joke, by the way. Like everybody's like, "Oh, Pace, that's too soon." You're going to offend some people. I'm so sorry.
They don't understand. So, as far as basements go, so a lot of the houses that we run into are foreclosures. And that's something I'm going to send you an email about, Pace, but they have 3-bed up and 1 downstairs that does have an egress. And then sometimes they'll have 1 or even 2 other bedrooms in the basement, but no egress. So are you suggesting we put additional egresses in there to have those rooms qualify? What does that look like?
You'd have to list on PadSplit. Yeah, we require egress. They need to be able to escape in case of a fire. So that's what constitutes a legal bedroom. So you either need a walkout in the basement or a egress window, which I believe is about 40 inches.
Yeah, I've got a student in Kansas City. I went and visited on my big nationwide 120 city tour a couple of months ago. And
Connor.
And his big thing was, I have a basement and I need egress. What should I do? I go, add the freaking egress, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to save the money. Do it the right way, right? And
Right.
again, tomorrow the main focal point will be, where do I find more deals? How do I get the funding for the deals? How do I get started? All of that stuff. That'll be the focal point for tomorrow. So we'll talk about that. And I look at the extra cost to add a window that's in a basement. So a lot of times you're going to have to cut the stem wall of the concrete foundation, and you're going to have to add a window. And sometimes that could be up as, as high as $2,000. And so some people are like trying to whittle down $2,000. If you understand how to structure these deals the right way, you don't need to worry about the $2,000. But that's a good question. Joe, do you got any other question besides that? Sound like you had a couple.
No, you'll answer them tomorrow.
You're the man. I appreciate you. Okay. Avani. Hold on. Let me see. Is Avani the most unique name I got in here? Avani, I'm feeling like you got the most unique name. I've learned that when I do that fun game where people have to have a unique name to get their hand raised or answered, people start making up fake names just to get their hand answered. So Avani, is this your real name? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last question. Let's go to Bonnie. I have a good feeling about Bonnie. Bonnie, what do you got?
So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. A couple of questions are, I'm in Massachusetts. It is an issue in Massachusetts, even with, the high cost. The apartments are very expensive. The homes are very expensive. The biggest problem is finding the property. But a question I have from everything I've been listening to, which has been completely fascinating,
Yeah.
is what is the reason why, instead of taking single family houses and then changing them, is to take maybe refurbishing motels, something that already has a whole bunch of single rooms, but they do have their own bathrooms. Because I guess I'm missing on how all these adults, when you have a family of 4 with 2 little kids and 2 adults, it's a problem of a bathroom. So I don't know how adults who are all trying to get ready for work or whatever are sharing 2 bathrooms in a house. And I don't know, do you put a time meter on the door, or they only have a limited amount of time? And safety, I think that's another thing that I'm concerned with, is not enough bathrooms and the safety of a lot of adults and our children. I don't know if you mentioned that before. Are children in any of these?
No children, 1 heartbeat per room for PadSplit. There
Okay,
are,
all right.
I'll talk about this a little bit more tomorrow. There's other co-living models that my students are working because there is a need for the marketplace. But what PadSplit does is PadSplit answers the need of like 87% of people that need co-living, which is like an individual single person. Usually when adults are now moving in together, they can afford a little bit bigger spot, right? 2 incomes, dual income house. So PadSplit knocks out 87% of all the need of affordable housing. Kids are not allowed in these houses at all. Now, are there other models that my students are following where it's like co-family stuff? Yes, it's more problematic, more challenging. Now you get kids involved, minors. We don't need to go into all that stuff until tomorrow. I'll talk about other business models behind that. It's ironic that you brought up Massachusetts or brought up New England in general, okay? I have students in New England that are doing more creative stuff than you can imagine. They're converting churches into co-living. They're converting hotels that used to be a church that then went to a hotel that went back to a church into co-living. And I love highlighting them. I love showing the deals they're doing. Let me show you one that I just went to not too long ago. Let's see. Oh, you know what? This new laptop won't let me share. I'll share tomorrow, but I have to like give this new laptop. I just got it today permission to share on Zoom. But Justin Tumanowski has like 80 doors in the New England area that are all churches because you guys have a shiz ton of churches up there. You guys have ton of historical properties and you guys have weird property. You guys are the weirdest freaking part of the country. I have, in fact, the coolest relic I own in my whole entire life is this thing right here. And this came from where you live. This is a 400-year-old deed that came out of one of your guys' properties up in that area. My students up in that area give me like 1,700 nails, wooden nails from the 1700s. You guys are wild up there. You got all sorts of wild property. So yes, we're trying to keep everything simple. You imagine I only have 10 hours with you guys, right? And we're trying to cast you like what's possible, what's not possible. I have a lot of large properties, 24 units, 18 units, 12 units. And I will take certain apartments out of those units. Like I've got one in Lubbock, Texas, and it's 12 units. I took 6 of those and converted those 6 into co-living because they were 2 bed, 1 bath. I converted the living room into a bedroom. And now I got 3 beds, 1 bath in that 1 unit. So I'm renting out 3 different bedrooms. You can do this on other asset types outside of single family. However, the challenging part of going after larger assets is that they're more irregular. They're not as common. You're not going to run into them on a daily basis. If I go to single family in Boston, I'll show you guys this tomorrow. First thing I'll do tomorrow, I'll go to Boston or go to Massachusetts, and I'll show you how many people are in foreclosure, how many houses will work in single family. Then I'll show you the commercial. There's just a lot less frequency. So if you're trying to find deals for other people and get active income, and then maybe every 4th or 5th deal you're finding for other people, you keep one for yourself, single family is going to allow you to do that versus multifamily churches. Those types of asset types are going to be a little bit less frequent, and you're going to see the deals less often. Does that make sense?
No, that doesn't make sense. There is something in Massachusetts that has been a real stickler with a lot of towns, and that is there's this MBTA, which is the train. It's a commuter train that goes into Boston, and all the towns that had a depot within a half mile on either side are required to come up with so many doors. And it was and they had a vote on it, and towns that did not approve it are not getting additional grant money. So, but the problem is, once it was approved, it was very difficult, it still is difficult to find adequate housing that you can, because they're saying you can add rooms in a house. You can do this to make affordable housing, but it's very difficult, dealing with if there's a pressurized sewer system and, a lot of rural towns along the train.
Yeah, you guys have one of the most challenging building situations in the country because you're the oldest part of the country.
And just one more quick question for both of you. How do you handle internet in each room so they can go and sit at their desk and watch, do whatever they're going to do on their laptop or whatever.
We've
Because it's
converted
difficult.
all of our houses over to Starlink in the last 6 months. Starlink is reliable, less expensive, and can support 10 people streaming in like 4K. No problem. Starlink is incredible. So we've converted all of our houses to Starlink. What do you have an answer for that, Audrey?
Yeah, I think just like a standard Wi-Fi package, depending on how many people you have. Some people do like an individual like Ethernet cable. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. But I think don't overthink it. Just a standard Wi-Fi package typically.
We found that like CenturyLink or other places here locally are more expensive than a Starlink package, and Starlink is actually faster. And we're starting to realize that people are starting to see Starlink on our listings, and they're like, oh, that's just faster. They actually chose our property over another one because they're working, they're streaming, they're doing everything on their phone. They want fast Wi-Fi, obviously. So we switched over to Starlink. It's inexpensive, a couple $100 to get up and going, and then it's like $90 a month, and it's incredibly fast. So, Bonnie.
So, and who's paying that $90 a month? You are, or
Yeah.
is that additional shared of all the tenants who are using it?
Well, you're
Members.
actually asking, that's a great question. The money, we don't change the rent for that. We don't bill them anything other than their PadSplit fee. We don't go to them and say, let's divvy up the internet, let's divvy up the water. It's all included in their PadSplit rent, right? And we pay for that outside of it. The thing that, Audrey was talking about is that it's not just $800 a month. It's impossible to find. It's $800 a month with all the utilities is also a freaking miracle. And so we're not whittling them down at all on utilities. We're not whittling them down on internet or other things that we have. One thing I would say about utilities is I try and stay away from houses that have pools. I have a pool in one of my houses right now that once the property gets up and cash flowing, I'm taking the cash flow and I'm going to fill the pool because I spend $600 a month on this particular pool. You want to get rid of the outside expenses that they're not going to use, but internet is one of those things that you paying $100 a month is just part of the package, and it still is included in all the cash flow that we've shown you yesterday. So it's worth spending $90 a month to make sure that their internet is incredibly fast. Audrey.
Yes.
I know it's freaking 8 o'clock at night in Miami. Can we give Audrey a lot of thank you for hanging out until 8 o'clock?
Thank you guys. No worries.
She could be eating freaking great food, hanging out with all her homies out there in Brickell or wherever it is that she lives. Fancy pants.
I'm too
Miami.
old for Brickell.
You are? Okay. So I thank you so much. And I sent Atticus, the owner of PadSplit, a text message, and I said, hey, my rep's not available today. Can you give somebody over to me? And he brought a new relationship to me. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being in here. I hope you had a good time.
Super happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Cool. We'll have you come back. You're freaking awesome.
Would love to. Anytime.
Thank you so much. And the way that people can get a hold of PadSplit is just go to the PadSplit link, and then they will be assigned their individual AE based on where they are in the country, correct?
Yep, absolutely. So I would say in most metros, we have a local person. But whoever you want to work with, if you want to reach out to me, happy to work with you. But just know whoever you work with, everyone's great. So we're going to take care of you.
I've never met a bad PadSplit AE. I've met probably 50 of them as I travel around the country. They're incredible. Guys, tomorrow we're going to go through and talk about where we find these deals. Again, we did it on Monday, but we're going to do it again. I'm going to make a couple more seller calls. I'm going to show you guys how to structure these things. I'm going to go through a couple of breakdowns of how you can get your first deal with no money out of your pocket and how you can get a deal without using any financing. My students have hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of properties on PadSplit, and most of my students are buying those with creative finance. They don't require banks, don't require credit, don't require any of those things. So we will be back here tomorrow. I will be giving a private money lender list at the top of the session tomorrow at 3 o'clock Arizona time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. And we will be back here for tomorrow, the final day of our co-living training. Audrey, thank you again one more time. I appreciate you.